All right, everyone, we start off today with a little bit of economic news, and it's not good. In fact, it's worse than the prior few months, which is that the bidenflation numbers, they just came in for September, 5.4%, so it actually went up. Now, we were told for the first several months, this is just transitory, it's easing off, everything will be fine. You'll remember last month when it came in slightly below the inflated expected number, everyone was like breathing a sigh of relief, and for August, or was it July, and they're like, oh, thank goodness, see it's going away now. Now it's risen back up to 5.4. So we were told that this specific scenario wouldn't happen, and I'm reminded of the Afghan withdrawal. I mean, I look at Biden's poll numbers, and that's in cherry-picked polls that have his support desperately inflated by missampling, like that Quinnipiac poll that showed him at 38% approval. Plus 5 Dem. Imagine that. It seems a lot like Afghanistan. We were explicitly told by Biden and by the people around Biden that exactly what is currently happening was the least possible or impossible scenario. So Afghanistan won't follow the Taliban. Don't worry, everything's fine. It follows the Taliban. Now nobody remembers that because they've shifted their attention elsewhere. Don't worry, we'll have like 3 or 4 months of a bit more inflation. It'll then ease off. It'll go back down to normal levels. It's not. It's getting worse. This is what I expected to happen, because this is the result of a toxic, larger policy. This isn't because of one stimulus. I mean, it is Biden's fault in that initial sense, but his re-regulations, his attacks on U.S. industry, his ignorance of the border crisis, and his borders are not even visiting it, are all contributing to inflation. Part of it is also systemic, longer-term damage done by COVID lockdownerism. You shut down a lot of supply. The demand is now back. You've got ships idling off the coast. Biden taking the drastic action of trying to prevent ships from even anchoring there and working the ports 24/7 at full capacity. Well, by the way, trying to fire a bunch of dock workers for their bodily autonomy choices. The economy's fucked. I'm sorry to say, but Biden is reacting in such a frenetic manner that he should probably be 25th right now. And more people, I believe, are calling for that. There's a reason why Let's Go Brandon has evolved past being an online meme and is a very real-world thing at this point. It's not just for the humor value. Now, first and foremost, keep in mind down below, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there will be links at a pinned comment down below to other video hosting sites that I use. I make 2 exclusive videos a day on those platforms that don't make it onto YouTube. So if you want to get the spiciest clanks of the day, you're going to have to join me on one or more of those sites. You should be using them all. I don't understand, especially why people who want to create content aren't using the sites that reward specifically this kind of content the most. I'm like, okay, you've got you've got an Instagram. That's called branching out. That'll work, 5 years from now when everyone on there is a boomer, like on Boomer Book. Anyway, stagflation continues. You have considerably lower than expected job creation. You have wages that are rising anemically. They're not keeping pace with inflation. They're certainly not rising this fast. You have much higher than expected inflation for multiple months, which is much higher than norms for multiple months. I think it's they're going on 7 months now of excessive inflation, of lower than normal job growth for 5 of those months. That is stagflation. This isn't just your grandma's inflation. This isn't like oh, we hit 2.5% inflation for the month. Oh, the sky is falling. This is massively excessive, and it's coupled with the fact that people are more unemployed. A lot of them, by choice actually, they've stopped looking for jobs. When we look at the unemployment data that Biden crows about, a huge proportion at this point since he took that office of people that became re-employed, that dropped off of unemployment, is because they're still on unemployment. They're not looking for a job. When they're asked, they're like, no, I'm not looking for a job. I'm getting these unemployment benefits from the state because of the federal government pumping more money into it. I'm making as much now as I was before, and I don't have to go to work. Why the fuck? Ultimately, if you're in the working class, and you're able to take a 5-10% pay cut because you're making a little bit less, but at the same time you don't have to commute, you can apply yourself to anything else you want, why would you go to work? There are millions of people in the United States fully capable of working. There are jobs there in their field that they can go and work at, but there's no reason for them to because Biden hasn't provided one. That's the case in multiple states that continue with their excessive unemployment benefits, etc. as well. Vermont's using a bunch of the COVID money that it was given to relocate mobile homes. So right now we do not have a functioning economy. We have a dysfunctional one. We do not have a political party in charge in D.C. that takes things seriously. We have a bunch of friggin' toddlers in charge. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know negotiation. They don't understand the civic structure of how government works. And certainly don't understand the separation of powers or what legislatures are actually for. I think there's two people in the whole party that do, in the Democratic Party. Manchin and Sinema. They sort of get what a senator's for. They're, by the way, called far-right extremists because of this. You have a president with dementia who literally pretends that these numbers are good, who will not address the fact that at this point, this many months through, we can, in a qualified sense, we can use the term stagflation at this point. It's no longer just excessive inflation. It's not transitory. It's not easing up. It's not going away. Now you have fuel prices, by the way, because of the Bidenomics that are crippling the economy and because of the lockdowners in blue state. You've got 40% higher oil prices for fuel, for heating oil, going into winter in the northern hemisphere. My goodness, how many elderly people are going to die without assistance? Probably tens of thousands of them. But Biden will let them die. He'll probably blame fossil fuel, or he'll manage to say that, or he'll work in Orange Man bad somehow, because Lord knows nothing can be his fault. In a technicality, in a technical sense, I guess he's right. He's got Alzheimer's. He's not the one making the actual decisions, but he is the figurehead, and he did choose to be their figurehead when they came to him and offered them clemency for Hunter Biden and said, hey, we'll make sure to shred those documents related to all your kitty sniffing, all of the questionable things on Hunter Biden's computer. We'll make sure the media doesn't touch that with a 10-foot pole till after you're in there. Biden said, okay, yeah, that's all right. What were we talking about again? I wonder why we have excessive inflation and higher joblessness and anemic wages and anemic job growth as a total. Came in 300,000 below expected last month. And the month before that, it was like 250,000 below expected. This is not a strong economy yet. Every other time Biden speaks, it's about his Build Back Better agenda. We're going to solve everyone's problems. We're already, by the way, he's in the same breath, he'll say, well, things are going great. All that damage that evil orange big diaper poo-poo caca baby did, we're fixing it all. But we need $3.5 trillion because things are going great. Everything's hunky-dory. Unemployment's down to a 40-year low and wages have begun to rise and everything's... To listen to Biden is to believe that everything is going fundamentally in a great direction. Let's change that direction. Meanwhile, he's impotent to change the direction because of the composition of the U.S. Senate. I love it. I love the situation that he's in. Hopefully, his infrastructure bill does not pass. Hopefully, he is forced out of office and then Kamala resigns or is forced out as well because they're being negligent. They're not running the country. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Biden has never had to balance his own checkbook, I guess. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why Trump did so well with the economy. He spent decades and decades having to do that. Biden has no such experience. I mentioned this about Asian politics and diplomacy as well. Link in the description. Archived, of course. You can look at the data for yourself. To be clear, 5.4% is considerably worse than the prior month, than for August. That in turn was worse, I believe, slightly than July. It peaked, I think, technically in June, but I don't even know that it hit 5.4 then. Somewhere around that number. So we're right back where we started. 3 or 4 months ago, they're still saying it's transitory because it went down by 0.2, and that's a great thing. Well, now it's back up. So what's causing it? Is it tax cuts that Trump passed over a year and a half ago? No, it has nothing to do with those. This is due to Bidenomics. This is entirely Joe Biden's problem. But meanwhile, all the Biden ass kissers, they won't admit to that. They'll still say that I'm kissing Trump's ass by understanding basic economic reality. Oh boy, I love smacking these people in the ass. That's about all. Peace out.